So I hear all the time, hey buddy, don't you think you should eat more food? I mean, you're getting so skinny. I hear that all the time. I think it's interesting because before I lost about 40 pounds starting 5 years ago, no one was coming up to me saying, hey, don't you think you should stop eating so much food? Don't you think you ought to put that burger down or something like that? So anyway, but my life is like this now. So I want to let you know, in case you don't know me, in case you don't follow me on social media, I eat, and I eat well, and I eat a lot. Maybe I'm still not eating like I should, I don't know, but I do eat well. And I will tell you one confession that I have to you is that I face and hold on to a low-key fear that I'm gonna be stuck somewhere hungry without food. It's kind of a weird thing to be afraid of, but it's something that I definitely deal with. And because of that reason, I actually have food near me almost all the time. My work backpack, I have another little shoulder bag that's smaller that I will keep some snacks in. If I'm going running and I've got my running backpack, you can guarantee there's food in almost every bag that I carry. And I even have a food box that I keep in my study near my bedroom. I know the kitchen isn't that far away, but you just never know when you have to grab something and grab it now. And I thought what I would share with you, and I'm going on a long trip and I'm not sure when I'm gonna get to eat, what the schedule's like. I need to make sure I'm gonna have some food with me that's going to sustain my energy, that's going to kind of stick to my ribs a little bit. So, you know, I feel like I should get some kickbacks for this from these companies. I think this is a good free commercial for them, but I'm gonna share with you because I'm so passionate about my snacks. These snacks that are like my go-tos. So I love a good Cliff Bar and they're pretty awesome. This one's a peanut butter crunch one. There's a chocolate brownie one that tastes like a giant no-bake cookie. And the ingredients in these kinds of things are good. There's no trans fat. The carbs are high, but that's kind of the whole point, to give you more energy, sticks to your ribs. 40 grams of carbs in a Cliff Bar like this will get you sustained energy for quite some time. This is like a whole meal for me, and that's why I kind of ration those out quite a bit. For just a nice little snack that's made of all natural ingredients and organic, also those who are running and are active, this is kind of a good go-to candy, if you will, is a honey stinger waffle. Just like a cookie that's honey. Oh man, these things are delicious and I love them. 150 calories, not too bad. I love carrying those with me. Again, for something that's more energy sustaining, that lasts a little longer, I'm a huge fan of Belvita biscuits. They're kind of considered like a breakfast biscuit. I'll usually eat them for breakfast. This is blueberry, and that's my favorite flavor. Ironically, you won't find them near the granola bars and cereal bars like you would expect. They put them in the cookie section at Kroger for some reason. I think it's part of their awesome marketing scheme to say, I can eat this Oreo and hate myself later, or eat a Belvita biscuit and feel good about myself. I don't know, but these are great. And they even have a soft baked kind of Belvita thing going on, this banana bread one, and there's a protein one with like oats and chocolate. They're so good. So highly recommend those. Listen, Nature Valley, their game has been strong for a long time. I love their granola bars and I love dark chocolate. So oats and dark chocolate, Nature Valley granola bar is amazing. And they also have this wonderful thing called biscuits with peanut butter. They also have like almond butter, cocoa butter, other butters, I guess. I love the peanut butter. This tastes like a big, healthier Nutter butter bar. That's what it tastes like. So good. Now, I'm a big fan of protein bars, which for those who are active, you got to have some protein sometimes to go along with your training regimen, if you will. My favorite protein bar is a Pro Max protein bar. It has 2 carbs for every protein, which is really good because you don't want to the carbohydrates are what stores the cells. If you add protein to carbohydrates, you're storing protein in those cells, which is a good thing. So a lot of people believe carbs are bad. Not all carbs are bad. Carbs are actually really good. It's just what you go put along with those carbs. You want to put more protein and good carbs, less fats. So also I love pure protein bars as well. They're great. So this is my food box. I usually grab 2 or 3 versions of one of those things, stick them in a backpack wherever I'm going. always want to have food on me because I never know if I'm going to get to eat when I need to eat or want to eat. And honestly, I think I need to confess that I have low-key hunger issues. So that's my story. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up and spending 5 minutes to do it, why would I do that, is because it kind of goes along with the story of the Israelites. In this second session of the journey, we're talking about how the journey is in you, that God wants to do something in you. He cares more about what's in you than what he wants to do through you. In fact, he'll usually spend a long time doing something in you before he actually does something through you. It doesn't mean he doesn't do things through you while he's working on you, transforming you and shaping you. But there is clear biblical evidence that God will take a long time, spend a long journey in your life doing a work in you, oftentimes even before he does something through you. This is huge. And the Israelites are a great example. They were in Egypt for 430 years as slaves. And you would think, yay, the Exodus happened. Moses led his people out of Egypt. Way to go, Israel. Way to go, Moses. And even more so, way to go, God. But once they got out of there, literally a month after they got out of there, things turned dark quickly. They were ready to go right back to Egypt. They were complaining. They were uncomfortable. They were now wandering sojourners out of the comforts of slavery, if you will. And so it was a very difficult journey. And long story short, as you read through the entire book of Exodus, even if you just go through chapter 16 in Exodus, you will see that, wow, they may have only spent a few chapters showing how Israel left Egypt and got out of Egypt, but it took God an entire 40 years to get Egypt out of Israel. And that was the journey that they were on with God. God had to clean them from their Egyptian slavery in order for them to truly be ready to be the nation that God had chosen to be his people. And that's the journey you and I are on as well. God is doing a work in us, in you, in me. There are things he wants to take out of us. There are things he wants to put in us. It is a long journey of transformation and of change. A couple of things to think about regarding Israel's journey. At one point, it describes how during the daytime, God was in a pillar of clouds. And then at night, that cloud turned more into a pillar of fire. And so wherever that pillar went, the Israelites followed. Wouldn't that be great to have, right? Sign me up for one of those. Won't even have to think about it. I can just go where God is leading. Well, as it turns out, once you've placed your faith in Jesus Christ, his Holy Spirit takes up residence within you. That pillar of cloud, that pillar of fire is literally inside of you. So I believe we totally underestimate the power that God has placed in us in order to know his will and to even do his will and to experience the change that he has for us. So keep that in mind. Another thing that was pretty awesome about the story of Israel is they reached this point where God had given them a long scenic route to get out of Egypt and move towards the promised land. And it's a good reminder that God often puts us on a longer scenic route. It may look like it would make way more sense for God to get us from A to B in this very short distance. And we may wonder why did God send us up here to C, D, and Z before he took us to B? Why did God do that? Well, we need to trust in him that that's what his plan is and that's what's best for us. In the story of Israel, we find out that he knew that if he would have taken them the shortest distance between Egypt and Israel, they would have gone through the land of the Philistines, who were the longtime enemies of Israel and stayed the longtime enemies of Israel. And if they had to face a battle immediately upon leaving Egypt, they would have ran right back to Egypt. Turns out, even though they avoided the Philistines, they still struggled with the temptation of wanting to go back into slavery. It's a crazy thing. It's an ironic thing, and we're the same way. We sometimes run away from God's best for us towards our past even, because that's what we know and that's what's comfortable. And the Israelite story is a reminder that it takes God's strength and courage and guidance and wisdom for us to stay on course with him. And that's the next step that I encourage all of us to consider taking, just to stay on course with him, to be patient in the waiting, to let him do his journey within us so that ultimately he can do this journey, this great work he wants to do through us. It's a long route. It's a long journey. We got to pack a bag. We got to bring food. By the way, God provided manna for the Israelites on their journey. God's going to provide in every way for your journey. Don't be afraid. Is he going to provide? Am I going to know where he wants me to go? Usually that's not the issue. The issue is having the courage and the faith to follow him when it doesn't make sense. So discuss this together as a group. I hope that you will open up and share. There's some really good questions that your leader has for you, and it's going to ask you to maybe share some of the things that you've seen God do that maybe he's taken a long time to do, and to ask you, wait, what is that thing that God is wanting to take out of you right now or put in you right now? Some great open sharing. I hope that you can know that your group is a safe place where you can share confidentially and freely and know that you're going to be prayed for by one another. So enjoy some great discussion, enjoy some great prayer time, and just remember this: God has a lot of stuff he wants to do in you right now before he does something through you.